30 minutes.
Let me give you like 5 minutes. I want to but I want to give you
I'm not used to speaking into a microphone. Can everybody hear me? No. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yeah. Yeah? Yeah. Okay, my name's Sharron, I'm an addict.
Hi, Sharron.
I thought that I was just going to talk for 10 minutes, and I've just found out in seconds it's half an hour. And I've never been to this meeting before. I've heard about it, and I've heard that it was a massive meeting. And it's big, but not as big as I thought, and I don't know if I'm pleased or disappointed. You know? And when people say, thank you for asking me, I don't feel that. Sometimes I feel such a fraud when I'm being asked to do a share, because yesterday I didn't get dressed. I was just in my pajamas, eating chocolate, thinking how fat I was, on my phone, looking at teeth in Turkey, facelifts, camper vans, because I thought I'm going to drive from London to India and then to cars. And that's what I'm like when I left to my own devices in my own head. I can go everywhere and get bored of it, but go nowhere. But the wonderful thing about this program, you can start again at any point. And yesterday was just one of those days where, you know, I had cancer not so long ago, and I've had a chest infection, and it's just knocked me for 6. So when I get ill, I get really exhausted, and I've got other illnesses, and it just, you know, I get this big stick to flagellate myself. You know, I feel I should be up, you know, making the house wonderful, cooking a great meal, painting a fucking picture, or doing yoga. But instead, I'm watching, you know, I watched this teen thing on BBC Catch-Up, and it wasn't even anything intellectual, but it was just something to lose myself. And the thought of coming here today, I was dreading it. I was thinking, I don't know where it is, and I hate going to places when I don't know where it is, you know. But anyway, I'm here, and I know that when I show up and do service, it gets me out of my head, gets me out of self, and it leads me to a much better place, you know. Already, when coming in and seeing the laughter and getting hugs, it's just, you know, that nice boost. I've been in and out of recovery for many years. I first came in for a year, and then I went out for 6 years. And then I came in for nearly 14 years, and then I went out for 3.5 years. Don't judge me, it could happen to any of us. And now I'm back just over 10 years. Oh, wow. So, you know, that when they say alcohol is a drug, I heard that for many, many, many years, but I thought it wouldn't apply to me. My first recovery, when I came in, I ran around here for years, the West End. I mean, it's different now. Then you could drive around Leicester Square, park up, you know, you could get a card and drop it in brake fluid and put your own signature there, get a year passport. It was so much easier, stealing and doing stuff. And there was, you know, when Ramadan come, all the Arabs would come, you know, and the abnormal was just so normal, you know. And I was a little girl running around the West End, but it was like, it was meeting with all other kids that had run away, you know. I come from a really dysfunctional place. My mum was one of us. She's gone now, but she had very bad mental health. She was an addict, an alcoholic. She was a sex worker. When she was born also out of wedlock, and in Ireland she was an hour old. She was put in a convent, and whilst in there she was sort of brutalised. And so when she came to England, she just, you know, she ended up doing something, and she ended up in Holloway, and that's when she found out she was pregnant with me. And she didn't want me. She kept telling me that she didn't want me. So I grew up fucking hating myself. I didn't like myself at all. I thought I was ugly. I thought I was fat. I thought if I had these clothes, these shoes, if I looked like... So I lived in my fucking head. I used to have, you know, a record player, and I'd have to play records in sequence, and then I'd go off in a fantasy. And if the sequence broke, I'd have to start it all again. I was fucking mad. And when I was young, I used to love songs about broken hearts. You know, I'd never even had a boyfriend. You know, anything, you know, to slash a wrist with. I was just like, oh, I was there, the pain of it all. You know, so I was in and out of care. I was in and out of foster care. So when I got to the West End, I fucking loved it, you know. When I first took acid, I'd run away, and there was all like these middle-class kids passing a spliff around, and one of the guys, he said, do you want some acid? And I thought acid was like battery acid, but because they all looked so cool, I would have had dog shit, you know what I mean, just to fit in there. And it was like, yeah, I've had acid. I had no idea. And I loved it. The walls were fucking breathing. I saw, you know, I just thought it was the best thing. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. And so as soon as I come down, I wanted to go back up again, but it didn't work as good. Yeah, and then down the road there was a squat where the door had been kicked off, and people just looked like the Walking Dead, and they said, oh, you know, they're heroin addicts there. And for me, it was like promotion. How fucking mad is that, you know? I just thought, yeah. And also I thought, you know, I thought about my mum, I thought, yeah, now she'll be sorry, you know? You know, it's like that Tom Sawyer, you know, Tom Sawyer, Mark Twain, he writes about when he pretends he's dead, and then he goes back and sees them all crying. I've had that, you know, where I think, even in recovery, I've planned my own, you know, when I was going through chemo, I was thinking what music to have, who's going to, you know. I do sort of lean towards the morbid side in life. Anyway, so down the road there was another squat, and when I think of my 15-year-old self, it's so sad that I held my arm out for a grown man to inject me. You know, when I look at 15-year-olds, and nobody's going to give you snack for free for long, you know. And so I ended up, you know, doing things that no young girl should be doing. The abnormal became so normal, and I became so desensitized, you know. And so when I first came into recovery, my whole identity was being an addict. When I came in, it was like, yeah, this is great, you know, I really like this. But I couldn't speak. If somebody had told me that years ago I'd be sitting up in front talking to people, there's no way. I mean, as a kid, I wouldn't even cross the playground because I'd think I'd got the wrong shoes on. I just wanted to fucking hide, you know, and even coming into recovery, I just wanted to blend in. And I didn't share, I didn't get a commitment, I didn't get a sponsor, I done nothing. I just came to meetings. if somebody was sharing next to me, oh, the fear. And that's all the stuff I used on. That's all the stuff I used on because I didn't think I was worthy. I just thought really I was a piece of shit. But I couldn't say that. I couldn't say that out loud. I really couldn't. Because it'd be too shameful. I had this facade, you know. I was quite good at making money. And so, you know, coming in, I'd had a car, I had the phone, you know. It was at a big cost. And, you know, we used to smoke in the meetings then, and I started going outside the meeting and chatting. And I remember this guy saying, you won't get well out here, you need to be in there. And I wanted to fucking batter him. And I thought, who the hell do you think you are? And it's true, you know, I ended up not going anymore, you know. I took everybody's infantry. If you didn't fix in the groin, being a prostitute, being into prison, you weren't an addict. And because I couldn't put that, you see what, you know this dog? This one's a rescue, okay? And that one I got as a puppy. That one is so cool and everything. This one is so fucking needy. And it's such a mess. It's like us, you know, it's like doesn't know where to go, what to do, who to love, you know. And this one is like so confident. Anyway, yeah, so when I came in, I couldn't share. I'd done wonderful shares in my head, but I couldn't share. And so, as I said, I went out for another 6 years and I got involved with a guy and we found a lovely private doctor who'd give us amps and, you know, and we had nothing. We had the car, see what I mean? We had the car and everything, but we were living on a mattress. We were just living on a mattress because all our money went to the chemist to get the script out and everything. Anyway, one day he got up and he says, I'll be back later. And I thought, yeah, that'd be like 3 days camel ride because he's gone to pick up. And I thought it's going to be funny. And he didn't come back. And then I got a call saying he's in the hospital. And I thought, you liar, you're using somewhere, you know. Then I got another call saying you need to go out to the hospital, and I thought, yeah, that's serious. So I went up there, and he died in St. Guy's and St. Thomas's. And I remember driving back and going home, and at that loneliness, I'd never experienced loneliness. And you know. That loneliness and where the gear wasn't working. And I remember I got on my hands and knees, this is the truth, I got on my hands and knees and I said, if there's a God, please help me, please, because I don't want to do this anymore. I just cannot do this anymore. You know, it was horrendous. It was just, you know, when you're using with somebody, it's quite an intimate thing and then they're gone. You know, even in the hospital, my addict still didn't believe I was trying to get him out the bed to get to, you know. Anyway, I went back into detox. I didn't get rehab, but years ago you could have a longer detox. And I thought, I'm going to do things differently. When NA came into the detox, before I'd watched EastEnders, and the same fucking guy used to come in, he used to always do something, EastEnders won't keep you clean, and, you know. And so I've found, you know, like in detox, there's always two groups, isn't there? There's a really small group that really takes it all seriously. They've got a big thought, no, fucking gonna do. And then there's a big group that sees it like us and them, forgetting that the staff are there to save your life, you know. And like, I never sort of took it seriously that I was in a mental institution. I thought I was in a detox, which is a detox, something a bit respectable. It wasn't, it was in a mental home. I mean, I'd spend ages out my head sorting out screws in medicine in pill bottles. I don't have any I'm not a carpenter. But I'd spend ages and I'd get my hands all black or I'd drag things home. It was, that's insane, all that, you know. So I thought, I've got to do things differently. So when I left, I had to go home, and I'm so glad I never gave up my flat. People said, you've got to give up your flat. I'm so glad I didn't. I've still got it now. And when I got home, the house looked trashed, you know. It was awful. And I remember I used to have a gas fire, and I used to smoke then. I was making a cigarette, and I thought, fuck, I feel fucked. I had hep C, I had a stent in my kidneys, and I thought, I can't do this. If I had a bit of gear, then I can kickstart my recovery. But then something said, no, just go. And there was a meeting up the road. And so I went to that meeting, and at the end, they said, oh, we need somebody for a tea commitment. And I put my hand up to do it, and that was the best thing I ever did, because it made me feel part of. And you know that Cheers song, when they say, you go wherever, I'm not going to sing it, you know, you go where everybody knows your name, you know. After a while, people got to know my name. And these key rings, oh my God, when I got my 30-day one, it was like something really special, you know. And then I got my 60-day one, and then I felt I'm really part of the NA, you know. And I got my 90-day, and then I fancied somebody in the room, and, you know, I didn't act on it because I was too fucked, you know. And I got a sponsor, and she said, go and talk to him. And it's true if you fancy somebody, because the most seductive thing is the head. Normally, if you fancy it, go and talk to them. The fucking spell would be dispersed. If you keep it in your head, you know, you're just putting fertilizer on there, and, you know, trust me. And so, you know, yeah, so I'd done nearly everything. A friend of mine said there was a job in Cambodia. This is like, God, I was about 6-8 months clean. And people said, you're going to relapse and die if you go over there. And I went over there, of course, because I'd been tied to a chemist for years. And that was one of the best things I did. I went and lived and worked out there. There was no NA there, but there was AA, and there was all these guys that had been clean as God's parents, you know, because it was it was a really weird time out there. This is when you couldn't go in land. UNTEC was there, and they were doing, the UN were doing the elections, so there was no coalition government. Anyway, yada, yada, yada. I was there, and I must have been driving her mad, because there was a peace march for 1 month, and she said, why don't you go on this peace march? And I was thinking, oh, then, you know, because I'm a cheapskate, I thought, yeah, I can see the place, Cambodia, free, be free food, and, you know, I can walk along. Well, on the second day, I thought, fuck this, I want to go back. But it's not like you're walking down Clapham Common. You can't go back, you know, you could only go forward. And there was me, there was 200 monks, and you try having a wash with 200 monks lurking in the bushes, 60 nuns, and 7 Westerners, and I was the only English one, and I smoked like a trooper, and there was no coffee, and I had the worst headache and everything, and it was fucking horrendous, you know. I just was moaning, and I thought, why am I here? At first I left, and I was on the Khmer telly, I had a flag, you know, like, yeah. The third day, I was like, fuck, and I hated it. But it was the most cathartic thing ever, because I couldn't go back. And it was like with my using, I couldn't go back. I couldn't go back to that life. I had to go forward. And it was the most humbling thing I've ever done. If you ever get the chance, they do them in Thailand, go out on a peace march, or they do them up in Scotland. They're amazing. They really are, you know. They're not nice at first, but then when you get into the rhythm of it, it's an amazing thing. Anyway, I came back to London and I'd done what most people did. I got a job, I started volunteering in a detox. And then I got a job in homelessness, and then I was managing all the West End hostels. I'd done that for a couple of years. Then I set up a crack service in Brixton, and I was getting better and better. And I remember when I was about 8 years clean, I was at a meeting, and this woman, she'd relapsed at 13 years. And my arrogance, I thought, how could she relapse? You know, she can't have been working a program. You know? It's like, you know that thing, if there's one finger pointing, there's three pointing back. And I started, when I was about 11 years, I was working in the field. You know, the hospital where my partner had died, I'd gone and done a master's, a postgrad there in addictions and counselling. I walked into the grand hall, and I was thinking, fucking hell, years ago I was coming down the lift. You know what I mean? And it's true, we can change ourselves. You know, if a beggar can become a king can become a beggar. I mean, I was fucking selling myself on the street corner, and I was going into the grand hall to do my exams, and I got a merit. Anyway, rushing forward, it was about 11 years, it's like I got into that thing, I don't want to go to a meeting, fuck it, I'm with addicts all day, I'm with addicts all day, oh, here comes, what's his face, here we go. You know, and I started shutting off, you know, shutting off to everything. And I lost sight of gratitude. And then I started thinking, I've never had a gin and tonic, never. My using was the shitty end of the lollipop, you know, all my money went on, you know. Mine was Tennant Super and special brew, or if I got wine, it was the cheapest with the highest volume, you know. It was never for taste. And I used to love this detective program called Scott and Bailey. And these two women detectives, they'd go out getting criminals and locking them up. And she'd come home, she'd have a white crisp shirt on, kick off her shoes, and get a glass of red wine and light a cigarette. And to me, it just looked so seductive. And I thought, I'm a professional woman now, you know. This is before I picked up. I started buying wine glasses and champagne things, and I got a plastic retro pineapple thing to put ice cubes in. Got a drinks cabinet. I was going to, you know, before I had even picked up. And then I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get all the bottles, gin, vodka, you know, get it all where it looks nice. And I'm going to have dinner parties. And I'm going to go out and drink, you know. Anyway, I was at a wedding, and the Pims came round, and I thought, that's not like a real drink, it's got fruit in there. So I had it, and it didn't even touch the sides, and I thought, I know, gin and tonic, you know. Well, by the end of that, I hadn't eaten meat for 7 years, I hadn't smoked a cigarette. By the end of, well, I must have went into blackout, because in the morning, people weren't looking at me. So I woke up and I'd nicked 2 bottles of malt whiskey, I had lighters, packets of cigarettes. It's like she came back from nowhere, you know. It's like I thought she'd gone away. This is the little girl in me that was, you know, loved shoplifting and stealing, basically. So I wasn't this professional woman. So I thought, okay, I've relapsed. You know, I won't drink and drive. I won't drink alone in the house. I won't drink on an empty stomach. I won't smoke. I just smoke other people's when I'm out. And A normal person doesn't have to do that. A normal person can have alcohol, but for me, it talks. It's like, I can't just have a glass of wine, put the cork in the bottle, and the bottle in the fridge. It would talk to me. It's like, I can't have anything, even biscuits. I can't even have a packet of biscuits. I have to go back and back and back. And all the years coming here and hearing that, I didn't hear that. It just went out the window. I thought, it doesn't apply to me. Because the great I am, has done a lot of work on herself. I work with fucking addicts, you know, I know it. So I thought, I can socially drink. But then I couldn't. I could never get the drinks cabinet because I drank everything. I didn't trust myself to drink with people because I drank too much, too fast. And and again I hit rock bottom. I didn't pick up smack, but I picked up everything else. All the drugs that I poo-pooed, you know, got hold of me. And once again, I just found myself in a fetus position. I just thinking, God, please help me. And a good friend of mine in the rooms, he brought me to a meeting. He'd relapsed after 10 years ago, and I'd helped him. And he held out a hand to help me. And that feeling when I went back into a meeting, that warm feeling, you know, that feeling that you feel, you know, because I didn't do all the things that I thought. It's like those 14 years, I'd travelled the world, I mean, all over the world, literally. Danced in the Caribbean, I was at a world convention, I've been in meetings in bunkers in Israel, you know, the amount of countries, the amount of things that I'd done. This little girl who had fuck all, you know, and even though I hadn't lost anything, I'd lost myself. My home that I took pride in was a mess and everything. So this recovery is totally different. This recovery, I've realised it is a spiritual program for me. And it's not about getting stuff. Before I needed, you know, stuff to validate myself, like the good job, the this, the that. And today it's not about that. It's not about that at all. I love this program. I really do. I'm passionate about this program because it does work. I've seen, you know, I lost a very good friend of mine, Penny. I don't know if anybody knew her. Just before Christmas, we've been friends for 40 years, and she was 34 years clean. And my friends, because I'm old now, my friends are dying. And if I didn't have the fellowship, I was in a supermarket and I was looking at people, you know, I would never have that loneliness because I've got here. I've got, you know, people that I can reach out, but I've found you have to fucking work it. I mean, I have people moaning to me, it's like, nobody calls, you call. Go to a meeting, share, do service. I'm a GSR and a treasurer. I love doing service and being a part of. I love sponsoring. My life is quite, it's sort of like, it's easy. It's like, you know, I get my shopping, I cook nice food, I walk my dogs, read books, go to a meeting, chat. It's just simple, but it's so nice to go to bed, put my head on that pillow. It's like today I put clean sheets on, and I've still got loads of bath shit and everything. You know, and I've got clean pyjamas, and just have a bath, put on clean pyjamas and get in a bed. To me, that's bliss. All right, it's not rock and roll, but to me, that's like heaven. I've slept on the sofa for years with a plate as an ashtray, you know. And there's something about methadone and water, it doesn't mix, does it? So I don't think I wash for ages, you know, just wet wipes. And now I love having a bath and putting a face pack on and being clean. My biggest thing today is whether to buy, what car to buy. I can buy the car. And this isn't showing off. It's like I can buy a car today. It's like I'm juggling which one. And I'm moaning about that I've ate a bit too much chocolate. And I thought when I've eaten it all, then it stopped. And I ate it all yesterday. And then I've come in and see chocolate. And I thought, no. You know, it's like that when I was using, I think, I use it all now. But this is an amazing program, and I think, you know, those 14 years weren't a waste. They weren't a waste, you know. That's how, you know, I came from a very broken and damaged place, and I needed to catch up with education. I needed to do a job. I needed to find myself in the world, you know. And this time now, it's like in India. I lived a lot in India in recovery. And when people get to a certain age, they become like sannyasi. And I feel that's maybe what I'm doing now, you know. Not narrowing down the repertoire. The repertoire is still, you know, good, but it is narrowed down and it's not so chaotic at all. I think I'll end it there because then I'm just going to start waffling. And just to say, I love this program, and just give it a go. It's not easy. It's not for the faint-hearted. When Peck said the road less travelled, but you're going to find out who you've been killing. You're going to meet yourself, and instead of beating yourself up, you're going to learn to love yourself and be kind to yourself. When I heard all that, it was, oh, fuck. You know, my 13-year-old is like, what a load of rubbish. Yeah? Who's she talking about? But it's true. It's like, because going out and doing what we do, I know what I did, is not a loving act. It's not a loving act. And, you know, learning to turn that around. And the only way I know how to do it is coming here and I pray, you know, and that's what works for me. And I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you.